I'm extremely sorry, guys, for the inconvenience. So, like I was talking about the role of entrepreneurship in the economic development, and we were talking about how employment opportunity has been created. Okay, so like by creating new business enterprises, entrepreneur they are going to generate an employment opportunity for the youths. Okay, because unemployment has been a very major issue, especially in a country like us. Okay, where educated people are unable to find a job for themselves. Okay, and there has been a study over last 15 years that like more than 500 companies have eliminated millions of jobs for the people, but in contrast to that, entrepreneurial sector have also generated millions of job opportunities for the people. So you can just see like how effective this entrepreneurial sector is in order to bring back any kind of economic development of any country. Okay, the first point would be creating a employment opportunity or a job opportunity. The next would be inspire others towards the entrepreneurship. Okay, so that the team which is being created by the entrepreneur, they often provide the opportunity for the employees come teammates for getting involved in an entrepreneurial venture. Okay, so whatever the team or the people constitute in an entrepreneurial sector, they often provide an opportunity for the employees, or they try to inspire the employees to set up their own business or to get involved in the entrepreneurial venture. Okay, so this eventually leads the employees to become entrepreneur themselves after being inspired by their earlier experience of working for an entrepreneur. So it is going to give a sense of inspiration, or it is going to be boost the confidence level among the employees that they can also even start up their own business venture. Okay, so thus this process helps in forming a chain reaction of entrepreneurial activity, which is going to directly contribute to the economic growth of the country. So if everybody will think in a positive way of starting their own business, then definitely it is going to create a chain like reaction in the entrepreneurial sector, where everybody is involved to contribute something to the economic growth of a country. Okay, that would be inspiring others towards the entrepreneurship. Next comes the create knowledge spillovers. Okay, so what it is meant by creating a knowledge spillover. So when a scientist or an engineer leaves an organization to create a new firm, so knowledge acquired by him in the organization gets spilled over the new firm. So there is a saying that knowledge will never go in vain. Okay, so whatever the knowledge you have gained, that is never going to be a waste. Okay, so whenever a person is involved in some other field and he tried to switch his field from being an engineer to being an entrepreneur, so whatever the knowledge he has gained as an engineer, that can be implemented when he's going to start his own business. Okay, so that is what it means, that is creating knowledge spillover. Means whatever the knowledge you have acquired, that can be made used in a new firm as an entrepreneur. So we say that therefore entrepreneur serves as a mechanism by which knowledge spills over to a new firm. Whatever the knowledge you have gained from past years, that can be made used in your future in a future career as an entrepreneur. So that is meant by creating knowledge spillovers. The next would be increasing the number of enterprises. Okay, so when new firms are created by the entrepreneurs, so the number of enterprises based on new ideas and concepts also increases. Okay, so based on new ideas and new technologies and new concepts, even the firms are getting increased. Okay, so that is increasing the number of enterprises. So it not only increases in the number of firms, but also enhances the competition for the new ideas. So not only are going to increase the business fields, but also it is going to give one tough competition for the new ideas. So as and when the new ideas approaches in the mind, the people starts thinking in a different way and they start to create their own business venture. Okay, an increase in the competition within a city measured by the number of enterprises is accompanied by higher growth of performance of that city. So as many as a number of companies you have in a particular city, then you are going to say that your country is a higher growth performance city, because you will be having lots of companies which will be working in many uh, which will be working in many fields. Okay, so an increase in the competition within a city, which is being measured by the number of enterprises, is accompanied by higher growth performance of that particular city. So these are some of the points where we can justify that how much important the role of entrepreneurship plays in an economic development of any country. So here there are few more points that has been highlighted, that it is going to promote capital formation by mobilizing the idle saving of the public. Then it is going to provide immediate large scale employment, thereby reducing the unemployment problem in the country, which I just mentioned. Then it is going to promote balanced regional development. Then it is going to help to reduce the concentration of the economic power. And then it is going to stimulate the equitable redistribution of a wealth, income, and even political power in the interest of the country. Then it is going to encourage effective resource mobilization of capital and skill, which otherwise would remain unutilized and idle. Then it is going to induce backward and forward linkages, which stimulate the process of economic development in the country, and it promotes export trade, which is an important ingredient for the economic development. So some of the key factors where we can justify how important the role of an entrepreneur plays in the economic development. Now coming to the next topic, that is what are the barriers to the entrepreneurship. What are the barriers? Barriers are nothing but what are the challenges or the hurdles the entrepreneur has to face. Okay, and there have been listed some of the barriers, like lack of viable concepts, then lack of market knowledge, then lack of technical skills, then lack of seed capital, lack of business know-how, then complacency, that is lack of motivation, and social stigma, then time pressures and distractions, then legal constraints and regulations, monopoly and protectionism, inhibitions due to patents. So these are some of the barriers, or you can call it as a hurdles for the to the entrepreneurship. Okay, so a person named Karsiniki. Okay, a person named Karsiniki in the year 2007, he identified various barriers to the entrepreneurship. Okay, and among that, one barrier was a macroeconomic environment. So, what is a macroeconomic environment? So, macro means large. Okay, huge or a big, and the term macroeconomic means larger view of the economy. Okay, so macroeconomic is nothing but it is the larger view of the economy. So if you take an example, like in India, the process of liberalization started in the mid 1980s. Okay, so our India as a country, it started to liberate in the year 1980, in the mid 1980s, where the government started the process of encouraging the foreign MNCs. Okay, before there was no concept of such like MNCs, multinational companies. But as and when the India got liberated in the mid 1980s, the government started to encourage foreign multinational corporations to create a joint venture with the Indian domestic companies. So to have a tie up with the Indian companies. Okay, multinational companies having a joint venture with the Indian companies. So this process created a macroeconomic environment which many new small and medium enterprises they got involved, and to become a supplier and vendor for the joint venture so created. Okay, so this macroeconomic, it created an environment where the small and medium scale industries, they involved themselves, and they became a supplier and vendor uh, for the joint ventures. Okay, so the macroeconomic environment in India was a big deterrent to the entrepreneurship, as there was no freedom for entrepreneurs to set up their venture without taking the license. So there was a rule that if you want to set up your business, or if you want to take up your business, you have to take a license, or you have to get approved from the government, which has been a which was a major challenge for a for an Indian entrepreneur. So they didn't have any kind of freedom to start up their own business. If you want to start up your business in the mid 1980s, then you have to take a license, or you have to take approval from the government. If the government permit, then only you have a power to start your business. Okay, so that period is known as the license Raj. Okay, so that particular period was called as a license Raj, because you have to, in order to start up a business, you have to take a license. You should have a license, or you should take a permission or approval from the government. So this macroeconomic policy also affects the entrepreneur's decisions to invest, especially in projects that require a longer time to produce a return. So that is what, like, you didn't have any kind of freedom to start your own business. Okay, so if you want to start a business, then you have to get the approval from the government, and if the government permits, then only you have the freedom to start your business. So that was regarding the macroeconomic environment. So macroeconomic means it's a larger view of the economy. The second point, the second barrier to the entrepreneurship is the legal and regulatory environment. The legal and regulatory environment for entrepreneurship is formed by registration and licensing procedures. So there was some kind of registration being required, and there was a licensing procedure. Then there were some commercial and contractual laws. So there were some laws like commercial and contractual laws, then property right laws, then there was a bankruptcy and a collateral law, then real estate regulations and labor laws. Okay, real estate regulations, like if you want to purchase a land, then you have to follow all those real estate regulations, and what is a labor law. So all these things were involved when I talk about a legal and regulatory environment. And if the administrative procedure and laws are unclear, time consuming and cumbersome, they would pose barriers to the entrepreneurship. Okay, so if these all the laws, or all these laws were unclear, then it would be time consuming for a person who wants to start his own business. So this can act as one of the barrier to the entrepreneurship. Okay, so if these procedures and laws are changed or revised frequently, it would create a sense of uncertainty and risk in the minds of an entrepreneur trying to establish a new business venture. Okay, uh, like yearly they will be making some kind of modification in the laws. Okay, and by changing or by reviving such laws, then it would create a sense of confusion in the mind of an entrepreneur, or it would create a sense of risk in the mind of entrepreneur, like whether to establish a new business or not. Okay, so this can be um, one of the barrier for the entrepreneurship, that is the legal and regulatory environment. So unless and until all the laws are clear, or all the documents are clear, you don't have right to start up the business. Okay, and if the laws are not clear, then it would be a time consuming, and it would create a sense of fear, or a risk factor in the mind of a person who is going to start his own business. The next factor would be corruption and unfair competition. Okay, so a corrupt economy can lead to unfair competition, which in turn can become a major deterrent to the entrepreneurial activity. Okay, so there has to be a fair play. Okay, so you cannot be unfair to the persons. So we say that a corrupt economy can lead to unfair competition, which can act as a barrier for the entrepreneurs. So excessive regulations and approvals from the government required by the entrepreneur may take the government officials corrupt. Okay, so the government officials, they start to take bribe, or they start to take money from the entrepreneurs to get their work done. Okay, that is called as corruption, like bribing money or taking money from the person to do his work. Okay, they develop this kind of attitude of taking bribes from the entrepreneurs in return for the speedy approval. So people also would give money so that their work will get done. Okay, so this is nothing but it's like a corruption and unfair or unhealthy competition. So what will happen is honest entrepreneurs suffer due to the unfair competition from the other entrepreneurs who get early approvals due to the under the table payment to the government officials. So as I said that, like, if you want to get your work done or if you want to get your laws or your papers clearance, then you should pay some amount to the government officials. Then only they are going to pass your document. Okay, so this would create unfair uh, unfair to the honest entrepreneurs. Okay, so which acts as a big barrier to the entrepreneurship. Okay, so there is going to create an unhealthy environment. Okay, among the business venture. Okay, then comes the financial obstacle. So this is also one of the important barrier which we'll be studying to the entrepreneurship. Like startup ventures are usually dependent upon capital to be sourced from the banks and financial institutions. So why financial obstacle acts as a barrier? Because without money or without having a capital, you cannot run your business. Okay, or you cannot run your startups. So the startup ventures are they're fully dependent upon the money which we get it from the bank or from financial institutions. So it has been observed that in many economies, like banks are reluctant to give loans to the small startup firms. Okay, uh, to all big companies and all, the banks are ready to give financial help. But when it comes to the small startups, the companies they move back to give the financial help for the startup firms, because they may think that whether they can repay their loan or no. Okay, they will be in that mindset. Okay, the bank people, they won't come forward to give loan for the small startups, so which can be a barrier to the entrepreneurship. Okay, that is the financial obstacle. And then comes this tax burden. Okay, everybody knows like what is tax. Like we have to pay tax for the country yearly. Okay, so in many regions the government charges high taxes from even small startup ventures and has a tedious procedure for compliance of tax submission formalities. Okay, so even the small startup companies also should give the tax. This rule was created by the government, and they had lot of a very difficult procedure of paying the tax. Okay, the rules and regulations and the formalities what involved was very much tedious or was very much complicated. Okay, and it was mandatory that even the small startups have to pay the high tax. Okay, so this could be one of the barrier to the entrepreneurship, that is the tax burden. So no matter whether it's a small startup or a big startup, you have to pay the taxes. Okay, so in order to promote entrepreneurship, the governments would need to have a rational tax structures with the easy tax submission procedure. Okay, so like in order to promote the entrepreneurship, or we have to the government have to give some concession in the tax structure, and also they should give easy procedure. Okay, they shouldn't complicate it for the people who have to pay the tax. So it should be a easy procedure for the people to pay their tax. Okay, in this way you can help the entrepreneurship, but tax burden will be one of the barrier to the entrepreneurship. So high taxes in a region can be a entry barrier for the entrepreneurship on entrepreneurs. Okay, so like the people who want to start up their own business, they may think that we have to pay so and so tax. Then they may step back and they may not come forward to start their own business. So that's the reason we say that this tax burden will act as a barrier to the entrepreneurship. Then comes the challenges in attracting the talent. What is the challenges in attracting the talent? Okay, this is another big issue which is being faced by the small startup companies. Okay, because like we say that our country is a it's a land of youth, because many youngsters are very energetic in our country. Okay, and the best of the talent in engineering, management and other discipline wants to work for multinational corporations. Okay, many of the people have a dream that they want to pursue their education, and they want to do their masters, and they want to get into to the multinational companies rather than the small startups. Okay, they don't encourage small startup, but they want to work for the multinational company. So this kind of attitude of the professionals make it difficult for the entrepreneurs to attract them for their entrepreneurial ventures. Okay, so such kind of attitude among the youngsters, it is going to be a barrier for the entrepreneurs to attract the youths for the entrepreneurial sector. Okay, so so in this way, like, challenge in attracting people is also one kind of the barrier to the entrepreneurship, as everybody wants to go for a big companies rather than for the small startups. Okay, then the next point would be difficulty to source raw materials. Okay, so for entering a market with a product, an entrepreneur has to identify if the suppliers of raw materials and components existing in the market have adequate capacity and are willing to expand capacity to meet the requirements of a new player in the industry. So as I said that, like, if you want to start up your own business, you should go in such a field that where there is a less competition, and where you are going to get high profit, high revenue, and also the raw materials or the resources will be abundant. Okay, will be in a greater extent. Okay, where there is no shortage of raw materials. So you should choose such a business criteria. Okay, so difficulty in getting the raw materials will also be a barrier for the entrepreneurship. Okay, so the difficulty to source raw materials and components often deters the entrepreneurs to enter the market. So this is also one of the major challenge or a major barrier for the entrepreneurship, that is difficulty to get the raw materials and the components to enter the market. So these were some of the barriers to the entrepreneurship, and even these are some of the barriers which have been listed. But as I said, that first one is a macroeconomic environment, then second one is the legal and regulatory environment, third one was the corruption and unfair competition, then financial obstacle will also play a barrier to the entrepreneurship, then tax burden, then challenges in attracting the talent, then difficulty to source raw materials will also be one of the greater barrier to the entrepreneurship. Okay, so these were some of the barriers to the entrepreneurship. Now coming to the entrepreneurship development program. What is this EDP? Okay, this EDP is basically it stands for entrepreneurship development program, and it focuses on identifying the entrepreneurship qualities of an individual, then it provides required training, then it helps to prepare on the related project reports, and preparing the entrepreneurs to manage the finance. So in financial sector, how best they can work, then in the field of production, then technology, marketing and infrastructure facilities. So these are some of the areas where this EDP is being focusing. Okay, this EDP also provides knowledge to solve problems and difficulties of the entrepreneur. Okay, it is just trying to boost the uh, boost the entrepreneur. That is the EDP. EDP stands for Entrepreneurship Development Program. Now coming to the need of EDP, that is Entrepreneurship Development Program. Why these programs are required? What is its benefit? So it is going to build a confidence level in the people. Then it is going to give guidelines to the youths, Okay, it is going to give how to start and how to do all those, like some of the guidelines to the youngsters. Then it is going to give some technical assistance, technical help, then management training consultancy. Then it channelizes them to accelerate industrialization. Then it is helpful in growth of a small scale section. So in small scale industries, how we can see the growth, it is going to help. So these are some of the needs for the EDPs, that is enterprise, that is entrepreneurship development programs. And this entrepreneurship in India, so we will take up it in the next class. I think I'll stop it for today. So if you have got any doubt, so you can just personally you can message me. I don't think so you will get any kind of doubt, because it is all just general things. Okay, make sure that you go through the textbook once, and you will get a clear idea. If you don't understand, then you can just try to contact me. I'll try to solve it, whatever the confusion you have. Okay, so we studied what is the role of entrepreneurship in the economic development. Then also we studied barrier to the entrepreneurship. Then we saw what is a EDP and what are its benefit, or why EDP is needed. Okay. In the next class, we will be talking about the entrepreneurship in India. Okay. Entrepreneurship India will be the last topic. So after this, we will be completing the third module, and I'll start with the fourth module. Okay. Don't exit the meeting, guys.